Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take your sources, articles, notes, research, you name it, and really boil them down to the core insights you need. Think of it as your shortcut to getting genuinely informed, maybe with a few surprising bits thrown in. Today, we're diving into an article that Kwan Munyan, our founder here at Skill Wanderer, really emphasizes for anyone in the tech world. It's called The Skill Wanderer's Playbook, a deep dive review of Udemy. And it's part of this bigger series we're building on creating, well, the ultimate learning stack for tech professionals today. Because, as Kwan always says, and we definitely agree, just relying on one single platform, that's kind of losing game now.
Absolutely. And that strategic thinking is what we're digging into. Udemy. Quan calls it the biggest and most chaotic tool in the shed, which feels pretty accurate, right? So our mission here is simple. Give you a strategic guide, drawing directly from Quan's experience on how to really use Udemy's strengths and, maybe more importantly, how to dodge the pitfalls. Consider this your playbook for making Udemy actually work for you.
Okay, so let's unpack that. When is Udemy the right tool? Kwan lays out some pretty clear scenarios where it really shines. Useful to keep these in mind. First off, he talks about needing a specific tool or technology like right now. What makes Udemy so good for that immediate need?
Yeah, that's all about agility. See, unlike platforms with, long development cycles, individual instructors on Udemy, they can spin up courses on new tech, sometimes really niche stuff, almost overnight. So if your team just adopted something new, maybe the official docs are thin, or you need to understand a library by next Monday, Udemy often has the most practical, up-to-the-minute stuff first.
Like learning LinkedIn for networking, he
Yeah.
mentions, or even something complex like the balanced scorecard.
Exactly. It's that instant access to very specific actionable stuff.
Okay, immediacy makes sense. What about the cost? That always comes up with Udemy.
Oh, definitely. The budget angle is huge. If you're watching your spending, Udemy's incredibly tempting. Quan points out that with their sales, and we'll get to how often those happen, you can almost always find a pretty meaty course for what? $10 to $15.
Yeah, hard to argue with that price point.
It really is.
And it sounds great for just testing the waters in a new area. Maybe you're curious about AI, but not ready for a massive commitment.
Totally. Quan calls it a fantastic, low-risk way to dip your toes in.
Right.
You grab one of those huge mega boot camps for less than $20, see if the topic actually clicks. If it does, great. If not, you haven't really lost much. That's super valuable when you're trying to figure out your next move.
What about those really obscure tools? The ones where the official guides just, well, don't cut it.
Yeah, that's where Quan literally called it a career saver. His example was Commanda 7, an enterprise tool. Sometimes the official stuff is just lacking or maybe too dense for practical use, but you find an instructor on Udemy, someone who's actually used it in the trenches. They can give you those real-world insights that just aren't written down anywhere else. It's like getting advice from a mentor, almost.
And for people like me who learn best by actually building things.
Then Udemy's often a perfect match. Quan notes most of the really good courses are built around learning by building. You're not just listening to theory, you're actually putting together an application. If that's your style, you'll probably love it.
Okay, and the last point was using it to supplement theory, like after a heavy Coursera course.
It's exactly. It plays that utility role perfectly. Quan says taking a practical Udemy course after a theoretical one is ideal for making the concept stick. You connect the what for the theory class to the how in a real-world project. All these scenarios, Quan highlights, they really tie back to Udemy's core nature, that open marketplace model, which brings us to both its biggest strengths and its biggest headaches.
Right, so let's talk about that classic Udemy experience. You see it, right? The complete 2025 developer mega bootcamp, 60 hours, 450 lectures, 20 projects, list price $200, sale price $12.99 for the next 12 hours only. It feels like this amazing all-you-can-eat buffet for pennies. You just want to dive in, but then that little voice asks, okay, what's the catch here?
And that's the crux of it. Quan admits, like a lot of us, he has this total love-hate relationship with Udemy. He sees the incredible value, but also the frustrating inconsistency. I mean, he even talks about his own library. Dozens of courses bought with great intentions, but the completion rate, maybe not so great. The key thing to grasp is the business model. It's an open marketplace.
Meaning anyone can just upload a course, unlike, say, Pluralsight.
Pretty much. Anyone from a top expert to someone, just starting out with a webcam can create a course, set a price, and put it up. Udemy just provides the platform and takes a percentage. No central gatekeeper vetting everything.
Okay, so that open model, It's definitely a double-edged sword then. Massive variety, you said. That's the upside.
Huge upside. That's why the catalog is enormous. You look for React. A curated site might have 2 courses. Udemy, hundreds. And like we mentioned, those super niche topics like Come to 7, you just won't find them elsewhere. That variety is unbeatable.
But the downsides must stem from that same openness. What did Quan pinpoint as the big ones?
Well, several things. First, zero central quality control. There's no Udemy standard. A brilliant 5-star course can literally be listed right next to a 2-star one with terrible audio or information that's like 5 years old. Second, no structured learning path. Each course stands alone. There's nothing guiding you on prerequisites. Quan learned this the hard way.
Ah, yeah, the TensorFlow story.
Exactly. He jumped into TensorFlow super keen, but just hit a wall. Why? Because he hadn't mastered the data preparation fundamentals needed before tackling TensorFlow itself. The platform doesn't guide you. You have to figure out your knowledge gaps.
And what about reviews? Can you trust them if anyone can upload? You mentioned manipulated social proof.
That's a real issue. Some instructors might try to, game the system early on with fake positive reviews from friends. Makes a weak course look good initially. That's why Quan stresses you have to be a critical consumer. Don't just glance at the star rating. We'll get into his specific method for checking proof in a bit.
So, with all this potential inconsistency, what's the safety net? How does Udemy protect the buyer?
The main thing is their 30-day money-back guarantee. If a course really isn't working out, you can request a refund. It's your primary insurance. Though, Quan does note it's often Udemy credit, not cash back. So they're still encouraging you to try another course. He also touches on Udemy Business that's different, a subscription for companies, but his playbook is really focused on us, the individual learners navigating those sales.
All right, so it's this huge, sometimes messy library. How do we actually find the good stuff? Quan developed his own personal shopping algorithm, right? A set of rules.
Yeah, and his Skill Wanderer's playbook for Udemy is gold, honestly. Rule number 1, super simple. Never, ever pay full price.
Ha! Okay, that seems achievable.
Totally. Quan reckons they have sales at least 3 days a week, often more around holidays. Just be patient. Add it to your wish list, wait a few days. The sale price will almost certainly pop up. No need to rush.
Got it. Wait for the sale. Rule 2 sounds crucial, given what you said about reviews. Master the social proof triumvirate.
Exactly, because that star rating isn't enough. So, first part, reviews and ratings themselves. Look for volume. Thousands of ratings, not just dozens. A 4.6-star course with 25,000 ratings. Much safer bet than a perfect 5-star with only 50 reviews. And Quan's process is key. Read the 5 most helpful positive reviews, A&D, the 5 most helpful negative ones. Look for patterns. Are multiple people complaining about the audio? Outdated code. That tells you a lot.
Okay, reviews. What else is in the triumvirate?
Second, the instructor profile. Click their name. Do they have a real professional background in this field? Do they have other courses that are also highly rated? Big green flags are things like a personal website, a blog, maybe a GitHub profile showing their work. It shows credibility beyond just Udemy.
Right. Dig a little deeper on who's actually teaching. And the third part.
Third, course content and preview videos. This is vital. Check the last updated date. Is it recent? Avoid those dead courses that haven't been touched in years, especially in tech. Then, actually watch several of the free preview lectures. Is the teaching style clear? Do you like their voice? Is the audio okay? Trust your gut feeling here. If something feels off, just move on. Saves hassle later.
That makes a lot of sense. Check the ratings volume, check the instructor, check the previews and recency. What about those huge courses, the mega-bootcamps? They seem like such amazing value.
Yes. Rule number 3, beware the mega-bootcamp trap. They look tempting, right? 80 hours of everything. But Quan points out, if you're not a total beginner, they can be really tedious. You'll likely know a chunk of the early material already.
Yeah, I definitely bought those and spent the first 10 hours on 2x speed skipping sections.
Exactly. So, while great for absolute newbies, if you have some experience, Quan suggests shorter, more focused courses, maybe 10 hours, that target the specific skill gap you actually have. Often a much better use of your time.
Okay, avoid the temptation unless you're starting from absolute zero. And this next rule connects back to his TensorFlow experience, doesn't it?
It does. Rule number 4, build a structured learning path. Don't use Udemy alone. Remember, Udemy is mostly practical application. It often lacks deep theoretical foundations. So Quan strongly recommends pairing it with platforms that do offer that theory, like Coursera, Pluralsight, ADX, maybe university courses, or even good books. Use Udemy as the practical supplement to a more structured path. Otherwise, you risk hitting that wall like he did, missing key fundamentals.
Right. Use it as part of a stack, not the whole stack. What's Rule 5?
Rule 5 is simple. Use your 30-day safety net wisely. If you follow all the rules, check the reviews, instructor previews, and still end up with a dud course, which can happen, use the refund policy. It's there for a reason. It's your ultimate protection. Just, use it honestly, as Quan says. Don't abuse it.
Makes sense. Use the refund if needed. And the final rule sounds like something we could all use more of.
Rule number 6. Use fast forward and skip aggressively. This is about valuing your time. Quan says treat your time as your most valuable asset, period. Use the playback speed controls, 1.5x, 2x, whatever works for you, to get through sections you already partly know. And be ruthless about skipping. If a video is covering something basic you've already mastered, like installing Node.js, just skip it. Get to the parts that offer real value to you.
Be ruthless with your time. I like that. So this playbook isn't just about buying courses. It's about how Udemy fits into the bigger picture for different roles, and crucially, this idea of a learning stack.
Exactly. That's where the strategy comes in. Quan breaks down the value by role. For developers, it's fantastic for hands-on, project-based learning on specific frameworks or libraries. Courses like Build a Full-Stack E-commerce app with Mern or Mastering Docker and Kubernetes. Very practical. For project managers, maybe less for deep methodology, but it's a total goldmine for learning specific tools, Jira, Asana, Microsoft Project affordably.
Tool-specific training, yeah.
And for business analysts, super valuable for getting hands-on with data viz tools like Tableau or Power BI, or mastering modeling languages like UML or BPMN, things you absolutely need to do, not just read about. It really hits that practical spot for many tech roles.
And he doesn't just talk theory. He gives real examples of how he stacked Udemy with other resources.
Yeah, his personal examples really drive the point home, like the Mastery Through Supplement stack. In university, his Java course was super theoretical, so he used Udemy for practical courses on servlets and Spring Framework alongside it. That combo was so effective, he says, that even after years working only in .NET, he could still code proficiently in Java and Spring. That's deep learning, built layer by layer.
Wow, that's impressive retention. What about the holistic understanding stack?
That was for learning behavior-driven development, BDD. He wanted the full picture. So Udemy for the hands-on implementation part, then Pluralsight for the higher-level concepts and how BDD fits into DevOps, and then LinkedIn Learning for the why, the business case, how to sell it internally.
So different platforms for different facets of the same topic. Practical, conceptual, business value.
Exactly. A 360-degree view you wouldn't get from just one source.
Makes sense. And he had one for onboarding new folks, too. The intern bootstrap stack.
Right. This one's really clever for managers. Start interns on something like Codecademy for the absolute basics, JavaScript syntax, Java syntax in that interactive, low-pressure way. Then, once they have the fundamentals, move them to a project-based Udemy course. Build a real React app or a Spring project. It takes them from pure syntax to actually building something tangible fast.
Nice. And the last one was cross-discipline.
Yeah, when he was moving into a business analyst role, he used Udemy for a practical course on the balanced scorecard framework. But he supplemented that with several key books on business strategy his mentor recommended. So, blending a practical online course with traditional reading, it shows how Udemy can be this flexible piece you slot into whatever learning combination makes sense for your goal.
Okay, so after all that, the big question. Quan Nguyen's final verdict on Udemy, is it worth it?
His answer is pretty clear. Yes, absolutely, if you use it correctly.
The big if.
The big if. He sums it up nicely. It's not some elite university. It's not a perfectly curated training library. It is a massive, chaotic, sometimes wonderful digital library. Your success really hinges on you being a smart, critical shopper. If you just randomly buy based on flashy titles or fake-looking discounts, yeah, you'll probably be disappointed. But if you use that playbook, treat it strategically. It's incredibly valuable.
I like his metaphor. Udemy is the ultimate utility player in your learning stack. It's not necessarily the star quarterback designing the whole game plan, but it's that versatile player you bring in to fill a specific gap right when you need it. And if you wait for the sales and follow the playbook, the value for money is just hard to beat.
It really is. Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. In this world overflowing with learning options, how can you start mapping out your own intentional learning stack? Choosing platforms for specific needs, not just defaulting to one. Maybe think, what's one specific skill gap you have right now that Udemy, using Quan Nguyen's Skill Wanderer's playbook, could uniquely help you fill?
Something to definitely think about. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into navigating Udemy. Thanks so much for joining us. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next one.